What's up, guys? Just one moment. Just make sure that the screen's all set up for you guys properly. And there we go. That's cool. Okay. All right. How you guys doing? Pretty wild couple of days with all the news going on with crypto. Yeah. So just to go over like a quick recap, we were looking at this internal structure in our last trade. We traded off of the retest of this previous value area high from this little small consolidative point here. And this is the value area high here where this red dotted line is. When we pumped up and we retested this level, we broke the downtrending momentum and we broke a neckline of a double bottom structure and got an internal change of character, which gave us a target to basically go after these extreme highs here. We did get, or at least I got out after we lost the momentum shortly after reaching the value area high, and retesting and creating a break of structure was basically a big warning that we could start coming back down to this value area low. We fell down very slowly, and then we had the crazy news happen on Sunday with Trump announcing an investment schedule for the reserves for assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, and Solana. But yeah, like Wagner said in the chat there, we basically lost all the pump already. It was a fairly unsustainable pump, right? We had like a massive amount of imbalance when we had that crazy pump here. And what we did basically is retest the daily value area low here from this range bound price action that we've been in since November. And there's a pretty harsh correction on the daily. If you look at this on the daily, it looks like it's forming a tweezer top reaction off of that value area. And if we get a lower low on the daily, that basically confirms this as a strong form of resistance, and it could actually spark a more of a longer term downtrend to levels like this. We're looking at levels at like a really strong level of 72K, roughly around this previous value area high when we were ranging from February all the way to October before we broke out to the upside and started this whole range. Now this could be seen as a massive double top, and if you were to grab the measurable base target from this double top based on the momentum of this structure, the momentum suggests that we could see price actually go down to as low as, well, we already hit the target technically. So when we came down, yeah, we hit that target, and this could cause a spark of a continuation if we got lower lows. However, I'm not considering this a bear market just yet. Based on all the on-chain data that we've got going on, it seems like this could just be a cool down, similar to how we've had reactions like this down here to grab liquidity. In this case, we grabbed liquidity from this demand zone, testing this before finally breaking out to the upside after ranging for almost a year. This, if we manage to get acceptance into this range again, this could just be a range extension, and we can end up seeing price action swing back and forth between these highs and this low. And that would be pretty wild, but it would provide us amazing trade opportunities if that were the case. If we zoom in on lower time frames, what we wanted to see, what didn't happen, was price action. If we wanted to have true acceptance in this value area, into the daily value area, because all we did was got price action within it. We needed to have price action come down, like retest these kind of levels, and then create a higher high. And we failed to create a higher high. Instead, we got like an Adam and Eve behavior right here. When price action spikes up like this, and then it creates like a rounded top, that's known as an Adam and Eve. It's a form of double top. It's a warning sign that price action is likely going to reverse. It's basically just a visual representation of people selling, right? And we've already hit that measurable base target for this when we got down here, but now we are legging back down. We got to break a structure continuation, and we're seeing price action now dancing at a previous value area low, and this value area low came from, let me just zoom out, this structure here, and TradingView seems to have moved it again. So maybe we're not hovering at a value area low. Who knows? TradingView keeps moving stuff around with this value area glitch that's been having for the past few months. But we are at at least a 786. At least I believe we are, just by visualizing it here. If we were to pull a fib from this impulse move to this high, you can see that, oh, we're kind of like below it now. And we're coming down to the platinum zone right now at the 886. What you could do with Fibonacci is if you have the confluence of internal structural breaks like a change of character, you can use that confluence to help guide you into potentially getting a long position, but then you would have to watch these highs as your first core barrier concern. Now you need to tell the new people why we call it an Adam and Eve. Well, no, you guys can figure that out on your own. I didn't name it. I just teach it. Yeah. So, but you can tell by the appearance as to why they might call one side the Adam and one side the Eve. I'll be watching this downtrending momentum and see what this momentum provides in terms of like transparency when you're trying to prepare for a potential setup. So if we break this momentum, it's not telling you that you should be entering along, but it's telling you that the buyers, the sellers are now slowly being outpaced by the buyers, and that you should be preparing for a potential long if you see a change of character reaction off of a core area. Now this value area low from the demand zone, what we could see is maybe price action bounce off of this previous value area here, create a double bottom structure, and then acceptance back inside this value area, and we can start targeting these highs again while being mindful of this supply concern right here. If you start seeing reversal warnings similar to like this Adam and Eve or double top or head and shoulders within this, and then you get a structural break, then that's your warning sign that you should be getting out of your long position if we end up getting one. But that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. I believe that the speech is still going on with Trump announcing their potential investment schedule of what's going on, and that could cause another wild reaction on the charts. So I'll prepare for that. And if you don't know how to react to that properly using structure, then I just recommend staying out, because you got to treat it similar to like an FOMC event. If you were a trader in this scenario and you didn't know Trump was going to be talking about bullish stuff, you would have a bearish mindset during this period, right? And you could have entered a short and then have your face blown off by this crazy pump induced from the news, right? But yeah. So for now, we're just gonna wait for see what price action paints us in terms of picture for Bitcoin. But right now, it's looking actively bearish until we start approaching some key levels where we can prepare for potential longs. We got the 200 daily EMA in confluence with this previous value area high. That could be honored as a form of support right here. And that's where I would be banking on a potential reversal to be built. The 200 day is relatively strong, and when we dance around it, normally we'll have structural confluence telling us that we're going to have these decent moves here. For example, like if you weren't aware of the news that was going on here, you would just take this as like an inverse head and shoulder structure, right? And when it broke, it hit its measurable target. Like if you grab the momentum, the resistance here, and you're finding the momentum of the inverse head and shoulders, and you click and you drag and you bring it up here, like we pretty much had our target hit, right? And it was undercut a little, but this was a fairly unsustainable pump. But you'd have this Adam and Eve structure warning you that we're not going to be hitting that target, and you should get out as soon as you got that confirmation. So with or without news, a lot of people would have prepared for this long after this broke. And they would use whatever strong low that was available for their stop loss guard, like this one here. Is there anything else you guys want to look at? Anything new on Wintermute? Still looking into it. I have someone help me with it because the amount of transactions that Wintermute does, it's kind of overwhelming. And I just want to make sure I don't give any misinformation about that because it is a pretty big accusation, right? So I'll be doing more of a... Yeah, I'm still working on the deep dive stuff and I have help with that. All right, let's see how we respond to this. We're pretty much right at the 200-day EMA in confluence with the Valley area high. So we should be seeing some kind of support reaction to this. But I'd like to have a structural representation of reversal before jumping in, like a change of character. You think 70s are possible? Yes, I do believe 70s are definitely possible. You don't want to rule anything out. And especially if we break these lows here, we'll likely dip down to 78 again. If we break 78, we have this little demand zone right here between 77.2 and 74.5. Like this area, we could find support, but it's not nearly as strong as the 72 level. So if we're going to go down, I'm banking on a really strong reversal around 72 if we do manage to keep going down through here. But we could also get that reversal that we're kind of potentially waiting on right here if we get that 200 EMA support. At least internally, short term, to potentially retest this previous point of control. And this point of control is intensely strong at 92K. This is the one that we've had aggressive bounces off of when we're inside this range. And the point of control came from this demand zone right here. Now see, they moved the Valley area again. That's just annoying. So yeah, the point of control here, we're bouncing off of that aggressively every time we kind of dip down below, slightly deviate away from this Valley area. So if we come back up there, we got to potentially prepare for that acting as resistance again. We got 4 hours left on this daily candle. If we see a bearish engulfing candle, that candle would be closing below the 200 again, and it would probably provide a relatively bearish reaction. Well, yeah, that's Bitcoin. And anything else you guys want to go over? Straight up Qubic shill, brother. Oh yeah, you can't do a live without doing Qubic with you, man, eh? How's the video on Qubic going? Do you know when it'll be online? I'm working on a video first with Karma, and when that Karma video comes out, you can use that as a indication that the Qubic one will be posted very soon. All the research has been done for Qubic for the video, and the editor has an idea of what I kind of want to communicate with that video. So yeah, you should be getting it relatively soon, man. I'll give you an ETA very soon. All right, so let's take a look at Qubic then, since we're talking about it. And Bitcoin, we got some time left on. Let's pull this onto the 15-minute chart. So when we come back to this, we can see what kind of reaction we got in a few minutes. Do we have Qubic direct chart? No, we don't. Okay, so we gotta create one of those soon. Qubic.io. And I also want to look at Pi Network because I am trying to get my KYC working for Pi Network, but it's been a mission because their app has been failing miserably. All right, so we are now below this demand zone. Yeah, we are. We're below this again. I don't think this is the entire historical chart of Qubic. Let me take a look. This is gate.io, right? Let's take a look at Mexi. Mexi, no. Okay. BitGet. Our bit gets a little bit better. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that was our next core area that we were looking for a potential confluence off of these highs to break this for a potential reversal. We never got the break, so we didn't have to make a mistake of entering along. And now we are looking at, see, we got this key area, and if we get a lower low here, then this would be our new key area for a potential long position. But right now I'm just gonna leave it for here. And let's zoom in a little bit on the internal stuff here. So same kind of structure as Bitcoin, you know, kind of like an inverse head and shoulders behavior, broke out, tested previous highs, and then came back down, and now we're back at these lows. We have a value area that we can pull from this moment to this moment here to see if we can find any form of confluence for potential reversals for Qubic. Right now, this is a value area low that I'll be watching since we already breached past the point of control. Right? We have an order block on the hourly around, I don't even like saying the numbers of these things, but yeah, 0.040 and 11.94. If we get the like a double bottom structure around here, any kind of reversal pattern, we can prepare for a potential long and target the value area high again up here for a move that could equate to about 7%. So we got a 7% range. Doesn't mean you'll be able to capture the full 7% unless we deviated below the previous value area low like this, and then use the double bottom to help provide us a potential opportunity for a long off of that. But yeah, right now it's on a free fall along with everything else. It's had like 13% correction today, so I'll be watching this momentum as well and see if we get a squeeze event against the previous value low and this downtrending momentum. Well, that is Qubic. There's not much more than that, but if you were to give yourself a zone to prepare for a potential long, make sure you wait for the confluence of structure, but it'll be around this area here. Thanks for your sharing, Sprout. No problem. Tariffs will go into effect tomorrow. Yeah, it's intense. What's next? Bottom could be in. Market maker doesn't necessarily need to get the 70s. Yeah, I agree with that. We don't have to get new lows. I never assume that we have to get new lows, but always prepare for them mentally. Like, all right. What will come first, Bitcoin 500K or Kyle's actually having a Qubic chart? Well, let's do this. I'll make it right now, man. Create new layout, or no, make a copy, and we'll create Qubic chart right now. Qubic on against USDT. And I'll share it to you guys in the chat there. Sharing. Copy. There we go. Now you can watch my TA on this. Just message me if you ever need me to update it for any key levels that you want to watch out for short-term scalps or long-term positions. But I'll post it right here in the chat. There you go. So if you click on that, you'll be able to see me draw on it live here. What do we got next? Ondo and Sol. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good point. Let's take a look at Ondo first. I already have a tab open for it. Just like everything else, exploded. What did it test? So try to hold support off of its 200 day. Or is it the daily? Yep, 200 day. Is it the 50 day? Yeah, okay. So it got compressed against the 200 day and the 50 day here. We double topped, got the change of character, and then got a break of structure continuation to help define this drop. So you had lots of warnings that this was going to happen. The structure seems to be about the same. We got this inverse head and shoulders, blast off with the Trump news. Ondo has quite a bit of pairing liquidity that could manipulate this price action to go up along with it. But it does have relative strength, so you might see it do some unique price action. Right now it's kind of flagging its way down. So we're kind of creating, lower lows and lower highs within this flag structure, kind of resetting the market for Ondo, and we might get our second death cross coming up soon, depending on how long we stay below the 200-day. A key level we have to worry about for Ondo when you're preparing for a long, it's right here, down these lows here. Well, we bounced off the highs of it. Let me just box this zone really quick for you. So we're going to box this zone here. Right? So these are areas what I would prepare for potential longs in this area, similar to like how we got this double bottom structure, right? And we got the break of structure confirmation using the neckline as a form of support. Let me zoom in on that so you can see a little bit better. This is the 4-hour time frame for Ondo. But see how we have the confluence of this demand zone, a double bottom, change of character, break structure, bounce off the neckline. Like that's the candle here on the 4-hour. If you're a 4-hour time frame trader, you would enter off of this and use this as your stop loss guard. And you had the confluence backing of the news adding volatility, but it looks like the target would have likely been met anyways, and the news just kind of amplified that volatility. And now we're getting that reset because the crazy amount of imbalance that we had from that pump there, right? So now we kind of want to wait for a similar event where we could potentially fractalize another double bottom here, right? And the reason why I say fractalize is because like we had double bottom here, double bottom potentially build here, and then this could build a larger one here. And it's very, very common for that to happen where you see double bottoms within double bottoms within double bottoms to kind of like show you that warning sign of accumulation in the background. So that's what I kind of wait for, is use the confluence of the previous support that we've got going on here to prepare for potential reversals. And you could use value area data by pulling like a fixed range from here until we confirmed losing the value area here as a confluence for some zones to prepare for longs and shorts as well, in case we go range bound. All right, so I got the previous value area low. Let's mark a previous value area high. So we just broke into this area. If you're looking for potential continuations for Ondo's drop, what you'd want to see is price action to likely bounce around this point of control, hit this value area high as resistance, then create a lower low, giving us true acceptance inside of this value area and warning us that we'll be going down to this previous value area low again. So if you're someone who wants to accumulate more Ondo, you might see a reversal warning here, so you can buy some up if you want to. I'm a fan of Ondo, but I don't have any of it, so I'm going to be looking for potential accumulations here, and I'll let you guys know if or when I buy some, because I really want to jump in on a position of strength to make sure that my money is working for me the moment I buy it, so it's not just sitting there collecting dust while I wait for Ondo to do its thing. Because we might get reversal warnings at lower prices, like around 83 cents where this neckline was on the daily, right here. Right? We could deviate much lower, like not use this level of support anymore, but get acceptance into the demand zone and find support around here instead. And we'd have a lot of confluence for support here too. Okay, and so that's Ondo. I'm just going to go make sure that this chart is switched on to Bitcoin so we don't miss out on anything. And what was the other request? You were saying Ondo and Solana. So we can take a peek at Solana too. Solana's got some relative strength. I'm glad that the unlock FUD is kind of over for Solana, so we can stop talking about it. But it gave Solana some, like, you could say relative strength, but it was basically relative weakness. It was dropping harder than most assets at one point because of the unlock news. And zoom out a little bit. Going to the 4 hour. And my life is rendering right now. All right, cool. So yeah, now we're in the 4 hour. So it's been respecting its levels despite the crazy price action that we've got going on. So this is a really strong value area for Solana that's been going on since March, from March all the way down to November. So similar to like Bitcoin's range that's been going on from February to October. So it has like a month extension on each side, or on one side, sorry. We bounced off the value area low of this range, and then we quickly came back up to hit the value area high. And now we got a rejection. So it's kind of like following the same value area rules it normally would despite the news. And now that we don't have to worry about the FUD that could impact the price action negatively with the unlocks from FTX, I believe it was FTX unlock, right? We can start seeing it start to lose that relative weakness. So I'm going to pull a fixed range from the start of this range from here until we lost it here. See how we behave. We were looking for a long opportunity from this high being broken. The low was pretty aggressively low down here. So if you're looking at this price action, you wouldn't have a safe risk to reward ratio opportunity until this break of structure over here, giving us that continuation. Because then you could use this or this as your stop loss guard after that candle closed. I'm going to remove this. Actually, might as well just leave it there and adjust it to a previous value high. And let's grab this horizontal array for this point of control. So we got the previous point of control here, which we're bouncing off of now. And we got the previous value area low. So kind of similar to, was it Ondo, right? Ondo giving us that same kind of vibes? Yes. Yeah. Really tight point of control on Ondo. So you can see that these guys move alongside each other a little bit lately. So we got this point of control we're bouncing off of, where we can get a rejection and then a lower low to confirm us to move down to the previous value low. Where Solana is giving us the same kind of scenario. We have this. So we have a larger gap between the value area low and the value area high and the point of control, where we're bouncing off of it. We might see a rejection off the previous value area high, getting a lower low, confirming acceptance into the value area, and then hit the previous value area low. So Ondo and Solana are kind of giving us the same similar kind of vibes. Just make sure if you're going to short something like this, that you have the proper risk to reward ratio when you're using this level as your primary target. All right. Oh, Alex of Crypto, how you doing, man? Let's see. Virtuals from Runway. Let's take a peek at virtuals, and then Pluto wants us to look at DOT, and I kind of want to look at DOT too. We're watching it closely, DOT very closely, because it could be preparing for a rotation to the top of its macro range. It's currently resting at the bottom of it. Let's go to virtuals first, though. Do we have a virtuals chart yet? Virtuals. No, not yet. Okay. So virtuals on MEXC. Let's go to the daily. I got some fib levels here written. Now, why do I have that marked? I gotta zoom in a lower time frames for that. Okay, little small demand zone here. We're holding off of it relatively well. I wouldn't consider that strong, but we're holding off of it. We've got an opportunity here to draw two separate value areas, here, here, or we can merge them as one. Just if you're playing off of this range here alone, then just have two separate value areas. So I'm going to start from where this high is to our current price action. With that, we're at the point of control, the value area low. That's not accurate. That is not the point of control. I don't know why it's lying to us. The point of control is here. So I'm going to ignore what it's telling us, and I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to put the value area low right here. Someone's got to reach out. I'll reach out to them. It's not like they'll listen to us, but maybe if we all complain to TradingView at the exact same time, we can get them to fix their value area tool, because it's constantly moving it around. It drives me crazy. So previous value area high. All right, so we are at that little demand zone. I wouldn't say this is undercut. I would just say that I drew it slightly incorrectly. But we're at the previous value area low. This is where you typically would prepare for longs with virtual. But of course, you want to make sure that you get that reversal confluence. The great thing about preparing for a long where we currently are is the amount of fair value gaps that we have. So what I typically do if we get a fair value gap, let's just visualize this for a quick second. If we, let's say we built like a double bottom here, and we broke above the neckline. We got a change of character because let's say we got like a lower low first on this, like a descending double bottom, and we broke the neckline. If the candle closes inside of a fair value gap, I'm normally going to enter as a breakout trader rather than a confirmation trader. So basically just waiting for the candle to close above like a neckline rather than waiting for a retest. Because fair value gaps, when a candle closes within it, you don't normally get the opportunity of a retest. It just starts filling the fair value gap relatively quickly. So that's like one little warning I have just based on the structure that we have with virtuals. If you're looking for that long opportunity, you might not get the retest just because of the current structure. So that's what I prepare for right now is potential longs for virtual when we get the structure. We've got no structure at all telling us that we are going to reverse yet. We've gone straight down and broke lows. But we have confluence here so far to prepare for longs because of the fact that we are oversold. We are at the value area low. And we're at a historical demand zone. So now we just need to wait for the structural confluence. And we might range based on the momentum of the sell pressure for the next, let's see, 21 hours or so. So we might have a small little micro range, and then tomorrow we might get that long opportunity for virtuals. That's pretty much it for this. Oh, Tom Crown, what's up, man? How you doing? I bet you were just on live watching the news with Trump. It was pretty in. I didn't get to check it out yet, but I'll be watching your live on it very soon. It's much more entertaining watching your lives than watching just the news by itself. So I appreciate you doing that, man, for the community. That's awesome. What we got? So we did quite a bit of TA already. What we have, Dot was the next request from Pluto. So let's take a peek at Dot, because Dot is an awesome spot that we need to prepare for, like the bigger macro move. But we're still in the value area that's kind of preventing us from making that move. So I'll look at Dot. Okay, cool. So Dot right now let's zoom out a little bit on the daily for those of you who don't already know what I'm talking about. So DOT has been ranging for eternity. We've been inside this range bound activity for 1,028 days. The last time we had a 1,000-day like structure that we entered into trade together as a community was BNB, when it broke its macro resistance and just exploded to like new all-time highs. And we kind of want to do the same thing with DOT, but we need to escape this range. We obviously need to either see the value area high act as a form of support with a higher high, or at least preferably break above this high here at $11. But down here is front run potential opportunities. And we're at the bottom of this valley area. We've slightly deviated below this valley area low and grabbed pretty much all of the liquidity that DOT has to offer. Like this wick here, we grabbed so much liquidity. And now we're kind of like going range bound inside this valley area, playing around with this valley area low. I could probably update this fixed range here now that we've got some price action. So I'm going to do that right now. We might adjust the value. Yeah, we adjust the value area low from that. And we can delete some of this. We don't need that right now. All right, cool. But let's zoom back in. So here, we were preparing for kind of like this box zone between the 786 and the gold pocket, in confluence with a large amount of liquidity in this area here. And we got that test, and you didn't really have very much time to get in, but you at least got an inverse head and shoulder structure to give you that edge in knowing that we're going to get that reversal. And you could have got in using, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. There's lots of opportunities down here, but the more beginner friendly is the inverse head and shoulders break. When we got this shoulder here, the higher high, stop loss guard, and shortly afterwards we got acceptance into the value area, and we would have targeted the value area high. And in this case, we got right to the value area high where we double topped. And now we are coming right back down after having this head and shoulders, another one, but rather than being inverse, we have a regular head and shoulders here. And you wouldn't have very much time to get in because of basically when we had the break of this low, which would you prepare for? Like I said before with the fair value gaps, you don't normally get the retest opportunity, right? We just get the break and then it starts to plummet from there. We bounced off of the momentum, but failed to create higher highs to confirm it as support. If this confirmed as support with a higher high, I would have put in like a stupid amount of money on DOT and let it ride up to $10, but it never gave us that confirmation, so we just didn't take the trade. And now we're falling back down to the value area low, and similar to the virtual situation, we just need more structure to help us define a proper reversal. But this is an area where you definitely want to prepare for longs. We could deviate a little bit lower, but this is a zone where you got your long goggles on and you prepare for those longs. And we're oversold right now on the RSI, but this is the 15-minute time frame. So we just got to give it a little more time to confirm that reversal. The current momentum suggests, let's see, this is the momentum here. So if the sellers maintain this pace, we could get squeezed against the value area low or potentially this demand zone. But if we get squeezed with the value area low, we should get a reversal within 21 hours, just like we saw with virtual. So the stars are kind of aligning with a lot of these assets, but that's only assuming we hold the value area low and don't deviate lower, or else it'll be a time extension for the reversal. So that's what I'd be preparing for right now with DOT. It's just that reversal structure. Like we're at the zone where we prepare for the long. We just don't have the confirmation yet. So I don't need this level marked anymore because this was marked in the event that we would have a bounce here in a higher high. So I'm just going to delete that before I create confusion for anyone who's watching my charts inside the Discord. But yeah, so that's DOT. I'm excited for DOT because if we escape this value area here, the smaller one, it could create a chain of events where we start seeing a full rotation up to like $10 again, up these highs. This is the more macro momentum. We kind of like broke out of it, but never confirmed it as support. We don't have to confirm momentum as support. The more important thing is getting the change of characters and the like leaving the value areas and seeing them act as a form of support like this. But yeah, this is definitely an area where we prepare for a potential front run for that larger move to the upside. And if you're just doing it via spot, it's like a 2x in growth if we manage to get to that $10 target. All right, so that's DOT. What else do you guys want to look at? What's else on the list here? Could we check VRA? Yes, we could check VRA, of course. I'm going to flip over to Bitcoin, see how it's been updating here. Still resting on the 200 daily EMA. Trying to bounce off this previous value high and confluence with that, so nothing that exciting. It's kind of slowed down a bit. Now let's go over VRA. Oh, Velocity, right. Yeah. Velocity was one I was kind of excited for a little bit, but never really did its run that I wanted to do. Let's go to it on KuCoin. I believe it's been listed on KuCoin for the most amount of time on the centralized side of the fence. Okay. So yeah, right now we are in a zone where you want to prepare for accumulation. Like this is the daily structure. And you can see that from its high from October 21st. Or sorry, not October 21st, October 2021. From that high, we're getting squeezed against the demand zone now. This is the sell pressure, the macro sell pressure. And I don't think we'll get squeezed to this point, but it's suggesting another year. But I highly doubt it would take that long for a reversal or a potential breakout of this zone. Hopefully we honor this as support and we don't lose this demand zone and have it act as resistance, or else VRAs could be in trouble and you'd have to pull a value area from this consolidation to kind of give you an idea of some key levels to prepare for reversals. Why is that even not, that doesn't even look accurate in any way, shape, or form? What is going on with the value area stuff? Yeah, we'll just have to like mark our zones manually. But yeah, if we lose this value area, this demand zone, we have active resistance, then we just got to watch value area high here and prepare for it potentially acting as support and giving us a reversal. Or if we get acceptance into this area, then we could rotate all the way down to its value area low. And that would be like doom and gloom for VRA in my opinion. Now, if we were to grab the momentum from here, yeah, because we evolved the pace, so this won't be able to pull all the way up to here. I could just see it in my mind. We just got that retest along with Bitcoin, and had that harsh rejection off this momentum and confluence with what's going on with Bitcoin. So it's moving alongside with everything else. This so we could get this. We could be breaking out very soon. What we have? Let me guess. 21 hours. Oh, 4 days. Okay. I'm guessing 21 hours from this momentum could help induce the reversal. The current key area that we want to watch out for is here, but we might get a new one very soon. That's our key zone where volatility will start to spike for potential reversal. We do have an hourly order block there, so we have to mitigate that first before we can expect any kind of reversal. I would pull a value area from here to when we exited here and kind of help use that as confluence. We can see that we're already below the value area low. And one thing that's kind of helpful for preparing for additional confluence when you get that deviation from a value area low is to find out where it's like 25% levels are, and and all that stuff. And I'll show you an example of what I mean. If you get your Fibonacci retracement tool and you can customize it to find out equilibrium points and deviation points like this. And the 25% deviation gives you normally really good confluences for preparing for reversals as well. You still got to depend on structure, but it's a good zone to prepare. Never try to catch the knife, or else the knife can just go right through your hand and you'll be bleeding to death in the streets. So just try to wait for the confluence alongside of it. And in this case, we had like this downtrending momentum, and we had that change of character. Unfortunately, we had a huge spike that could keep people away from jumping into a trade like that when you're targeting the range high, especially. But now we're here where we can potentially get an SFP off of this wick and confluence with this 25% deviation point from the value area. So that's what I'll be preparing for right now if I were going to trade VRA. All right, so that's VRA. Let's take a look at what's next on the list. Thoughts on XRP? Let's find out. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Still chilling. Let's go with 15. Yeah, we're fighting against the value area high as resistance right now. What's a 5-minute look like? Yeah, okay. Let's go to XRP. All right, what did it get a bounce off of? Yeah, it's looking like everything else. Inverse head and shoulders. Kind of like a round top retest before blasting off to space. Zoom out on the daily. Oh, I don't think we'd have to go as far as the daily right now. Delete this noise. We don't need it anymore. Okay. So yeah, we came right back down into its macro value area that's been in since we got to its all-time high, right? Because right now we're technically using an all-time high as a form of support. If we honor this as support, it will help us give us stronger continuations. And when the bear market's confirmed, we might potentially come back down here and use a strong level of support. And because of this range-bound activity, we're allowing old investors to get out and new investors to get in to help stabilize the relative unrealized profits and losses. And that creates extensions in the bull market. But those extensions take time. Like the range we've been in since for November. I'll go over the extension theory with you guys after this TA. But it's basically based on on-chain data. It'll allow you to give you a huge edge in knowing when the actual top is in. But we are bouncing right now off this uptrending momentum on the hourly. And we could see price action come up to this value area high again, retest this supply concern, and the confluence of the value area high, and maybe dip down lower to the value area low again. And we'll see how it goes. It definitely looks like there's a buy wall here if you're looking at the XRP order books. And right now we're testing at the previous point of control. We got momentum here we can track, but I don't think we'll get squeezed against this uptrending momentum and just see something like this where we end up coiling up for a move to the upside or the downside. We don't want to rule it out, but here we might see price action consolidate to give us a answer whether or not it's going to go down lower or higher. In my opinion, I think we're just going to have evolving momentum and just break past this and reach this value area low soon if Bitcoin gets acceptance into this previous value area. Because we're right now dancing above that 200 EMA, and I know Bitcoin has a lot of short-term influence over XRP's price action. So the ISO 20022 tokens have like relative strength once in a while because of news events amplifying volatility. But Bitcoin is still the boss of them once in a while, so just keep an eye on Bitcoin if you're trying to use that pairing analysis to give you an idea of where price action is going to go. Bitcoin's a great bias tool for anyone who's an altcoin trader. Like whatever Bitcoin looks like, make sure you don't take it for granted. Like look at the posture of Bitcoin. If it looks bullish, you should be looking at assets that have more bullish setups than trying to trade anything to prepare for shorts. It gives you like a huge edge in improving your win rate just by following that one simple rule. Some people keep saying double top already on Bitcoin. Yeah, on the daily structure, it looks like that, like, especially since like we got that like slight higher high and gave us that macro change of character. So yeah, listen, you gotta listen to like the market structure. It's definitely a double top. We definitely got the change of character. Things are more bearish structurally than they are bullish right now on the daily. On the weekly, we're still bullish, but on the daily, we're definitely still bearish until we get a new high basically broken, a new change of character. But doesn't mean we can't like take some signs to give us some internal bullish moves. Like for example, if we managed to get acceptance to this, I would have been hyper bullish despite the daily structure, but we never got that. And so we got to prepare for our lower lows for Bitcoin right now still. Even though there's a reserve potentially coming for Bitcoin, right now it's just not giving us an impact that we want it to do. Listen to structure over news. What was the last one? Could you do hype? I'm missing anyone first. CRO. So I'll do CRO first. Okay. All right. Yeah, 0. It's November. Okay. We just broke volume trend on CRO, but not in a good way. Okay, so I guess we haven't really looked at this very often. The last time we looked at it, looks like we had this momentum mapped out to prepare for a long, and we had this barrier concern here and here, and we basically had this double top and then change of character that helped drive this price down. And the same way we prepare for a long here, we'd be doing it here as well. And we had this giant pump alongside with everything else, but on the daily, it's just appearing as a wick that tapped the momentum that we're watching right now. So the sellers are still in control, but we're at an area like a demand zone right now. So I'd box this zone, prepare for potential reversals. We have an opportunity for an SFP down here. So we got a wick right here where you could mark if anyone's an SFP trader. Okay. Make sure you use your magnet tool so you don't get lied to. And of course, make sure if you're going to be doing an SFP trade that you are also looking at your actual exchange chart, because the liquidity is different on every exchange. So price could deviate slightly differently on each exchange. I also marked this zone here because there could still be resting liquidity below this area, because it was not taken here, at least not on the Kronos chart. What I'd recommend, or the crypto.com chart, I'd recommend if you have access to Argus, to turn it on during this scenario to see if maybe it was the liquidity was taken on a different exchange, because it'll show you the wick on multiple exchanges to give you that edge in knowing that it was taken somewhere else, so you can make sure you get in instead of being feeling like you got front run on your own exchange, right? So I zoom in here. This is the internal on the 15-minute downtrending momentum. You're going to turn off that magnet now. We got a little valley area here. And right now we're resting on top of the valley area high. If we see price action get acceptance into the valley area high, then you should be on short mode because it could rotate all the way down to the valley area low while being mindful of the point of control being the strongest barrier between the valley area high and the valley area low. We got some confluence down here with a order block. And for those of you who don't know, order blocks are basically like warning signs telling you that there could still be buyers there. So because it took a large amount of volume for them, they induced a large amount of volume here, so all their orders might not have filled during that entry. So just watch out for the order block at 0.073 and the point of control at 0.07363. Now, here we can still see this act as support. We get compressed against the downtrending momentum here. Could get a reversal and start targeting these highs. We're watching out for this supply concern here. A 15-minute order block. So here we can prepare for longs, but just also mentally prepare that if we get the lower low and acceptance into the valley area with the break of structure, then we'll rotate further down. In other words, always trade with your stop loss. Like never, ever, ever trade without a stop loss, please, because you can just get burned in these kind of positions. You're trading right now on a glass floor. Just be cautious. But that's CRO. What else we got? 15 likes missing. Who are they? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Can we look at Hbar and Sui? And what was the other one? We got Hbar, Sui. I think we caught up, so we just got to catch up on those ones. And Link. That's going to hit that. All right, cool. All right, thanks, guys. Well, yeah, let's look at Hbar. That's one of my favorite ones. Let me see if I got a Hbar chart. I probably do. I do, okay. Last time we looked at it was the 18th of February, though. What's going on? Yeah, 18th of February was the long position inverse head and shoulders here. Bounced off a previous valley area low. Got a deviation away from this valley area. So when we enter along like this, you look left, right? And when you look left, you see your barrier concerns. It was the supply concern here, alongside with the valley area low and the point of control. And we also had this downtrending momentum that we ended up tapping before we actually broke back down again. So that was our last time we took a peek at it, and lots have changed since then. We had this massive double bottom structure off the same valley area low that we were looking for a reversal on this inverse head and shoulders for the short-term scalp, but we broke downtrending momentum. So if I zoom out, this momentum here broke when we got that double bottom off of the previous valley area low, and we retested this strong valley area here where we were range bound from November to February, and we failed to get acceptance into the valley area. And because proper acceptance is like your first break of structure within, right? And instead, yeah, we didn't get any. We wicked in here, and then we started to fail from here. So kind of pumped alongside with everything else, but now it's falling alongside with everything else too. We double topped, giving us acceptance into this valley area here. And now we're coming back down to this valley area low. we have a 4-hour order block alongside with this value area low. So we have confluence to prepare for a short-term range scalp right here. So I'll just mark this really quick. And let's mark this order block here. And let's zoom in on the 15-minute. And let's grab the momentum from this high and here we go. Yeah, so now we could expect a potential squeeze if we compress against that value area low, the order block, and the momentum right here. We'll see if we get that reversal. So we just gotta wait for structure again, like similar to like everything else. Like we just had a free fall, right? So we don't really have very much posture to trade off of. So if you're in an existing shorts for Hbar or any assets, these are zones where you got to prepare for that change of character reversal. And once you get that, you should take some off the table or close your position, so it doesn't go against you and you end up giving back all the profits that you just worked hard to earn, right? So that's Hbar for us. So we got the break of momentum, so it's telling us that we have a shift in the buyers from the sellers. Like the sellers are no longer really in control until I guess now. But we could get that reversal here and start going range bound again. Maybe this could be the range low, right? We'll see what happens. What else we got? Many thanks for share. No problem. Trump done tanked all the markets. And he pumped it, then he dumped it, right? I'm sure he bought in. You can always track his wallet, right? If he's about to go live, track his wallet. See what he's doing. Is he going to buy before he goes live and talk about stuff? And if you buy something, you should look into the structure of that asset. Don't just buy because he buys, though, of course. But if you see, like, with his wallet that he bought, and then you start seeing a double bottom structure, use that in confluence, especially if you know he's about to speak about something, because it could induce a huge pump, and you never know if he's selling the same assets that he's trying to pump, right? Politicians have a lot of advantages in the market. That's why their net worth pretty much multiplies after being in office. A lot of insider knowledge. And we can have that insider knowledge with crypto because you can't really lie on chain. Everything's a public ledger. So you can use websites like Arkham Intelligence and find out what the big guys are doing. Track their wallets. Right, this is BlackRock. We all know BlackRock. But Trump, you can search for his wallet in here too. Yeah, official Trump right here. Is that the... That doesn't look right. They have multiple wallets now. That might not be the right wallet. But you guys get my point. Track them, find out their wallets, and then it'll give you a huge edge in the market. Why would people buy ADA at the news of a federal BTC, you know? Oh, man. Well, a lot of people aren't traders like us, right? A lot of people don't know market structure, and a lot of people don't know the warning signs. So they'll use news as a tool to tell them when to buy. News is a retail tool, right? So think of it, if you're a market maker, and you can look this up to back what I'm telling you. If you're a market maker and you induce a break or a change of character, one thing you can do is you can release news articles to induce retail to buy into news, right? You'll notice that the news is reactional to the charts. So if you have like a double bottom structure and then we have a break, us as traders already know that that's bullish. But what will happen very shortly afterwards, like after the green candle is printed, is the bullish news will come in. And it's to induce retail to buy off of news. Same thing with double tops. It's kind of eerie because it makes you feel like you're in a simulation when you see a giant double top structure. Let me go over an example. I'm going to go over the Bitcoin, and let's go to the daily chart. And let's rotate over here, right? So here we have this double top. Us as traders know that's bearish. We're at the value area high. We had a daily SFP. So some people already entered that. But then after the double top broke, the news that happened here was the Japan carry-on trading crash, right? Like we were already in our shorts. But then the news was bearishly reacting to the interest rates going on in Japan. And as traders, you normally have an edge in knowing that things are going to go up or down before the news tells everyone else. And then retail reacts to the news, giving more volume, allowing the market maker to kind of like manipulate the direction of the asset to give them a better edge in capturing a larger gap for their setups. And it's kind of gross. If you're jumping in with a $40 million position and you're spending $10,000 at CoinDesk to tell them, hey, can you blast this news story? And CoinDesk will then put it not only on their outlet, but every other news outlet that they own. It's worth that $10K in expenses. I'm sure they're spending more than that on their position anyways, in trading fees. So, yeah. You'll notice that you won't really need the news as much as a crypto trader. You could just use the market structure to define your entries. But a lot of other investors depend on the news to know whether or not they should be buying something or selling something. So that's likely why people would buy Cardano at the news of the Bitcoin reserves. Because it's giving you, if you think of it this way, buying into stuff that's going to be a part of the government reserves is like you're front-running the government. Because they haven't bought yet, but they're planning on buying. So if you buy now, you're buying before they do. And if the U.S. government buys, there's a lot of copycat countries. For example, Canada is a really good copycat example. When the U.S. does something, a lot of other countries start doing it too. And it creates this huge domino effect where people start fighting over the supply of the asset. So that is why people are most likely buying Cardano. Even though in my opinion, there are better assets than Cardano to buy. But if you have that edge in knowing that the government's going to be buying, wouldn't you want to buy before them? Just like BlackRock, right? We all knew that BlackRock was going to buy around the time Bitcoin was at like 40, like the ETFs were launched around here. So by buying here, we got an edge in being able to buy before them. Technically, we had an edge in knowing the bull market was going to start here before everyone else is being told that the bull market's around here in the news, right? The better you are as a trader, the more you're going to realize you'll be able to front run whatever the news gives you. And just listen to the on-chain data, listen to the charts. The news is a tool for manipulation. All right. What else do you guys want to look at? Litecoin from Dylan. Sure. Let's do that. Oh, and Link as well. Let's do, and Sui. So let's do in an order. Jeff asked first. So let's go with Sui first. Let's open up. I know I've got a Sui chart. 68 viewers. Nice. What's up, guys? Welcome to the party. Okay. Sui still got this descending channel going on. The last time we looked at Sui was here. Let's delete this. We got a rejection off the value area high. This was a great opportunity up here for a short when we lost this momentum off the value area high, double top, new target, at least the point of control or the value area low. Or if you're going to be targeting the value area low, at least be mindful of the point of control along the way down. We had a more stronger double top structure form. It gives a stronger target down. So the momentum picked up for the sell pressure. And we tried to get acceptance into the value area, but we failed to create the higher high. We got in, we didn't get the bounce, and we didn't get the higher high. So it's a failure of acceptance. Kind of explosive move within the value area though. And it's looking a lot like everything else, where it's kind of came back down to like its range bound activity. And we'd be watching likely the value area low of this previous value area. We got a little bit of a deviation below it, so we can use that. I can delete that. I don't need that anymore. Let's get that Fibonacci retracement tool from this high to this low and see. Yeah, we're a little bit below the 25% level. That's okay. Might get a reversal structure here. So what you kind of want to see in a perfect, picture-perfect world and how I like to trade value areas is like a retest, a slight lower low, and then a break. So we get that change of character. Potentially an SFP down here if you're like to trade SFPs. You can watch the wicks down here for a potential SFP at 251. But that's what I'd be waiting for, a long opportunity. Downtrending momentum right here. And if we get that the zone that I'll be watching the most will be here, obviously. And let's get let's see how long. If we got squeezed against this, 20 hours. So same thing as pretty much everything else, between 20 and 21 hours before we get the confirmed potential reversal on SUI. At least in a scenario where we could target the value area high. Right? When I say reversal, I don't mean we're going to the moon. I just mean that we're at least going back up to here, $3. So we can trade this range. I don't know why my shoulder's hurting here. Sorry, at work. Been trying to listen. To recap, Bitcoin, we consolidate here for support and up. Or we can be heading down. F1, I recommend just zooming back to the beginning. I rush right through the Bitcoin TA so you can get a really good understanding of what's going on. But everything is kind of, the picture for most of these assets are looking the same. Between Bitcoin, SUI we just looked at, DOT, Solana, like everything's kind of like positioned in a way where we're trying to prepare for potential reversals, like short-term reversals to at least the other side of the range. Yeah, Bitcoin just got a 15-minute lower low, so we might start seeing bearish posture soon. We're still kind of battling against this 200 EMA though. Nothing I could jump in on. What else we got? Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin was the other request. And Chainlink. Let's do Chainlink first. That was next in the list. Cool. Okay. Aggressive drop. Got another ab neve here. Right here. A little bit of a dead cat bounce. Bear flag, internal bear flag. Some people would see this as a head and shoulders. It would be a great potential trade here to short, stop loss guard. And here we are. Zoom out on Chainlink. I got a lot of noise on my Chainlink chart. I like to trade it. It's a really good range bound. So if you're someone who's trying to learn how to trade ranges, Chainlink's a good one to practice that with. Energy Web Token's a great one. Chainlink, Ondo. Atom's a good one too. But looks like it's doing the same thing as everything else. The last time we looked at Chainlink was a short off of this posture here. And looks like we got the drop. I didn't enter that trade, unfortunately, but at least it got there for anyone who was looking at it. I'm going to update this little valley area from here to here to give us an edge in knowing some key levels. So right now we are dancing around this local previous point of control. And the active candle has got 30 seconds left. It might doji for dojis represent a form of indecision. But sometimes dojis, a lot of people don't realize this, but dojis can also be confirmations. So if you see a doji above a key level, like let's say a double bottom neckline or an inverse head and shoulders, what you really, really want to do when you see a doji close is zoom in on the doji in a lower time frames, because what normally happened is a retest and it's preparing for a lower low and it hasn't got it confirmed just yet. So we just closed the doji here. So let's see what we got. So we got a retest and it's preparing for a lower low. So if we get that lower low in this scenario, then we got a continuation. If we instead hold off on this point of control and use it as support, then we could get a short-term reversal into the supply concern and maybe go range bound from here to like here before we're getting a continuation down or a reversal up. But nothing I could jump in on right now. So that's Chainlink. Kind of like, again, preparing for price action to get to around the value area low and more structure to be born before we take action on anything. Pretty aggressive drop along with everything else. Its momentum is pretty broad in comparison to everything else. So we got momentum here, a fairly broad momentum. Then we got evolving momentum here. And so if we were in a scenario where we reverse here, we break this momentum, you should consider this as a potential area of concern. And to confirm momentum as resistance before we get to it, you have to watch the order books for sell walls, because sell walls will chase trend lines. And if you see sell wall chasing trend lines, that basically just tells you that there are traders out there honoring that level as a form of resistance. And you could do it with anything. You can do it with order blocks. You can do it with valley areas. You can do it with momentum. You can do it with Fibonacci levels. If you see a wall in the order books, then that will give you that warning of a potential reversal. It's like seeing the future. It's pretty an easy way of knowing where buyers are and where sellers are. And it's raw data. So the only thing you have to worry about is what's known as a non-intentional to fill. Like a non-intentional fill is when there's a giant wall. Like for example, we've got a buy wall right here. It's a very small one. It's only like 50 Bitcoin. But we have a buy wall there. You could watch if price action gets down to like 85,530, for example. A non-intentional fill would be the wall disappearing shortly before getting there. That's a non-intentional fill. So you just got to prepare for that. So you can't just use order books as a sole area of confluence, which I've tried doing before in the past, and it has burned me. When I first started trading, I made every mistake you can think of. Yeah, look for the walls. These ones are all relatively weak, which means a lack of confidence. People aren't really trusting some key areas right now. But when you see a massive wall about the size of roughly around like 1,000 Bitcoin is a decent wall. 500 is one I listen to. It takes usually 1 to 2 taps on average to break through like a 500 Bitcoin wall. 1,000 can create horizontal support or resistance, and anything above that, it's kind of like think of it like market maker manipulation. Anything above 1,000 at these prices, at least. At lower prices, it took a lot more Bitcoin, but at these prices, it's a little bit less because the value of each Bitcoin is a lot higher. We have a sell wall here. For example, this one's 150 Bitcoin at 86,980. So what I would do if I saw a wall, I would mark it on my chart with a horizontal line like this, and I'll mark down, usually I'll write text about what was the size of the wall, like how much Bitcoin is it? Is it 50? I won't even mark a 50 wall, but I'll mark a 500 or higher, like 500 BTC sell wall. And if you notice that it's like in confluence with an area of resistance, you should listen to it a lot more, right? And price action that does stuff like this, where a descending triangle or an ascending triangle like that, are normally a result of a buy wall if it's a descending triangle, or a sell wall if it's a descending triangle. And we're constantly trying to chip away at that armor before breaking out to the upside or to the downside. But that is, yeah. That's how I use order books. What exactly part of the picture is the wall? Not sure what I'm looking at. It might be kind of tough for you guys to see because you're looking at through my screen. But so you'll see that there's this ramp up, and there's not any real good examples of a wall. It's when you see like a big cliff and where it kind of like peaks up like this. That's a wall. There are way bigger walls than what we're seeing here. So this isn't a really good live example of looking for walls, but there are tiny ones in here. You'll notice that there's a total that's adjusting on this black box as I move around. That total is the amount of Bitcoin that needs to be sold on the red side, the amount that needs to be bought on the green side. And if when you get to a wall, for example, here's a small one, you'll see that the total before getting to the wall is 1,168. So between these four exchanges, that much Bitcoin needs to be sold before we're even capable of getting to that price. It is not possible for us to get to that price until that Bitcoin's sold. Now, from 86,280, we went from 1,168 Bitcoin to 1,258 Bitcoin in just a $10 difference. So that tells us there's a wall size of roughly 90 Bitcoin right there. And some of these walls are much, much bigger. So this is a sign of lack of confidence of key areas. If you see like a 500 Bitcoin difference between a $10 gap, then that means there's a relatively decent wall there. Up here, there's a decent wall. We've got between 85,010 and 85,000, we've got about 150 Bitcoin ready to be bought. So at that point, you can look at the confluence on your charts to see, is there a key area there other than it being psychological. And you'll notice that psychological levels, especially when price discovery, when an asset has never been to a certain price before, that the walls are very local to psychological levels, like rounded numbers. So 85,000 is like a rounded number where people are just preparing to buy right now. But before we get there, 2,435 Bitcoin need to be bought first. And once they're bought, there'll be a wall size of like 150 Bitcoin here that could prevent the price from going down. I hope that makes sense. Did I miss a white swan event? When I gave the title of the video, I was referring to the reserves that for Bitcoin potentially creating a potential white swan event coming for crypto very, very soon. We didn't really get a decent response off of the news for today. They were talking a lot about like AI boundaries. I'm sure you guys were watching it, rather than too heavily into their reserve schedule. If we find out their reserve schedule, how much they're planning on buying and when, we can use that data to tell us what kind of impact it's going to have over the market cap. For example, we got investment schedules from BlackRock that helped us know what kind of impact it could have over the price action. But unfortunately, BlackRock was doing OTC deals with miners, so we only got to know how much they were going to take away from the sell pressure from miners and not how much buy pressure it's going to cause to Bitcoin. So they were just preventing sell pressure, not actually contributing to the price itself. One day when miners run out of Bitcoin to sell to ETF providers, they're going to have to buy on exchange, and they're going to create a massive price impact over Bitcoin during a period like that. So I'd recommend keeping an eye out on the miners' wallets using on-chain data to see how close they are to like running out of Bitcoin, to give you an edge in knowing like how much could be bought by ETF providers. So on-chain exposed, we're seeing a really good reset on this. But on-chain exposed, we go to address specific macro picture. There's a subcategory here that allows you to see supply in miner addresses. And this allows you to know how much Bitcoin they have left. And you'll notice like ever since just prior to the ETF, right, that they've been constantly selling their Bitcoin, but we're not having a massive negative reaction on the charts. Other than a few of them, we know that miners sold here, right? And it caused like this steep cliff on here. So they sold that on chain for certain. Like we were able to track that. And we were able to track that by seeing on that date if any of their wallets transferred onto exchanges. The only reason why a miner would put Bitcoin on exchange is really to sell, right? So they're running low on Bitcoin right now. And some miners don't even sell. There's some strategies that they do to kind of give you to just hold long term. They might be holding it for like just to use as collateral. But I'll show you. I'll go to the Discord here, a report that we did. So we go to Market Insights under the Fanova Discord here, and scroll down to our most recent post. So on we do a monthly report giving you guys an idea of what's going on in the background or big things that are coming up. And this report, if I scroll down, we spoke about, let's get down here. There's about 70 pages, so here's the miners. So we're talking about the miners selling their assets and the amount that's going over the counterbalance right here, how much they're planning on selling to ETF providers like BlackRock, how much they got left to sell to them. So this will give you an edge in knowing, okay, when they run low on this, then they'll be basically forced to buy on exchanges. And there are miners with different strategies. So for example, like Riot, CleanSpark, and all of them, they all have different strategies and what they plan on doing with their Bitcoin. So here is on page 60. I believe this is it here. Oh, these are companies. Where's the miner page? Bitfarms. There we go. CleanSpark. So this will tell you what they plan on, what they usually do with their Bitcoin. Do they sell it all? Do they hold it? Do they sell some of it? Some of them sell 100% of their Bitcoin. As soon as they create Bitcoin, they sell it. the moment they created to cover their costs. But a large majority of them won't just sell if it's at a loss. So you can take this information and you can combine it with, there's this really great website called micro.me, and this will tell you how much it costs to make a Bitcoin. And when you find out the cost of how much it costs to make a Bitcoin, you mark it on your chart, and you can mark that as an area where miners will likely sell above that price to prepare for taking some gains, taking some profits. So right now it costs on average $83,700 to create one Bitcoin. So you can mark that on your chart. So anything above that, miners might sell. And you'll notice that it'll fluctuate quite a bit around this price. So how much it will cost to make a Bitcoin is because miners will sometimes turn off their machines if it's going to be costing them too much. So the network difficulty goes down, so it costs less to make a Bitcoin. So we're basically at the value area low of this previous structure here is where miners will start to capitulate if they sold at the point where they created a Bitcoin. Where's the link for the DC? What do you mean by DC? Sorry. So basically, we are the slope is no longer smooth. Could be a wall. Yes, exactly, Kirsten. If there's a wall, if it looks like a literal wall, it is a sell wall or a buy wall. It kind of like loses its curvature and just creates like a brick wall there. Let's see if we zoom in on that chart again, if we'll get another example for you guys, but that might. Yeah, so on this platform here, there's another exchange. So OKX. OKX's side, you can see walls. So you see how there's like external lines and then there's internal lines? There, on the internal lines, you can see that there are some walls there on different exchanges. So OKX has some concrete walls, but OKX doesn't provide nearly as much volume as the Binance one does, which is the external one that you're seeing here. But yeah, this is a wall right here forming for a buy wall. 85,500. It's a buy wall forming. So this is just a confluence indicator to help you get an edge in knowing where support and resistance is going to be. No problem. Where's the link for the Discord? It should be in the description down below. So if you're interested in joining, you can check it out there. I'll pull it up here for you guys too, in case you want to. So it's pro.fanova.finance. I'll put in the thing there for you guys. Okay. I've got another 15 minutes left. We've gone through quite a bit in just like an hour and a half. A double bottom posture in the 5. So probably get to, like, that's not an actual sell wall, so let me delete that. That was just an example. So we could just tap the supply concern and come back down, or go range bound until we meet the momentum and maybe induce a potential inverse head and shoulders. But we got a 5-minute change of character. This move doesn't look like it'll be too dramatic. Yeah, the momentum-based target suggests that we'll go to 87,000. Well, that's nothing. You can't really trade that unless you got in down here. I consider this like a no trade zone personally until we get proper posture telling us otherwise. Litecoin. I didn't go over Litecoin. Right. Sorry, Dylan. So let's take a peek at that. LTC, see how it's doing. It's got some relative strength recently with this ETF news, kind of like teasing everybody. So it might be approved for an ETF eventually. The more that ETF fails to be approved, the higher percent likelihood it will be accepted in the next one, because as they adjust their applications, it increases their chances of being approved. Let's keep that line there. And so Litecoin right now is range bound against a key level of resistance. It's trying. So we're in an area where a large amount of Litecoin holders are at break even right now. It's from the previous cycle, from last bull market. And if I were to pull up it on the daily, you can see a little bit more clearly that we're combating a macro previous value area low, this key area where we had a strong bounce, where Bitcoin was basically at 30K last cycle, and then it kind of topped around 56 when we confirmed the top there. And then we just built this massive double top, confirmed the massive double top, and then dropped down to its legacy support right here. And now we're combating that key area again. And if we end up getting acceptance above this area, which we haven't yet gotten, and proper acceptance is a break, pullback of at least 2 candles, then a higher high for our break of structure within a previous value area. And then we could see a fast rotation up to the point of control at 180, and maybe even see continuations to new all-time highs for Litecoin. But right now, this is the battle it's trying to fight. It just needs to get past this zone and use it as a form of support and get that higher high. And simultaneously, it'll probably use the local value area high as support instead of using it as resistance. But right now, it's in the same kind of picture as everything else. We're at its value area low, where you typically want to prepare for longs. We have a potential SFP opportunity for Litecoin. If you grab this wick here and mark right here at 106.08. If I zoom in, we are slightly above it, but we're going to have some confluence coming up here very soon. Let's get rid of this magnet tool for a second. So this is the momentum. This trade should happen very, very soon if we end up getting it. You don't want a full body closure below this, or else it could invalidate the whole SFP concept. But if, let's say, for example, we were range bound here, an ideal SFP would be within the range. If a candle wicks, captures the liquidity from below, and then closes back inside the range within the exact same candle, that's an SFP. And that gives you super hyper early entries. And some traders will wait for a second tap to be safe, which is completely cool. But by doing that, you might sacrifice your opportunity in exchange for a higher percent win rate. So just be aware of that. The great thing about SFPs is when you're wrong very, very quick, because you put your stop loss right below the wick itself. So here's a zone where we prepare for a potential long. If we were to mark this zone, it would be something like potentially around here, where we might get that long opportunity. So relatively soon. So we're getting squeezed against that liquidity. We got a slight deviation below the value area low. So you can either wait for the SFP if you're an SFP trader, or for more structural confluence, like a double bottom, inverse head and shoulders, triple bottom, whatever it might be, in confluence with acceptance into the value area. And then you could enter and target the value area high. So from $1.10 to potentially as high as $1.37 again. But we have really, really strong resistance here at 127 area. or just been range bound here against, looks like there probably was a sell wall here. This, if you were looking at the charts during this opportunity, you're probably going to be seeing a massive sell wall that prevented the price from going up any higher. I got a bunch of screenshot examples for anyone who's like a member. It's inside the course. There's some examples in there so you can see what like a true strong wall looks like. But yeah, we're definitely in a zone where you want to prepare for longs for Litecoin as well. But just no key area yet, because unfortunately it's way up here. All right. Because we can't consider this a pullback or a key area here because we only had a single candle pullback. For this time frame to consider this a proper pullback, to create this as a key area, we need at least 2 candles. We got 2 candles here, so if we got a lower low, this would become a key area. But yeah, that's it for Litecoin. Just waiting here. Kyle, you are a goat. So I remember when I first got called a goat from the community. I know this sounds really boomer, but I didn't know what it meant. I was like, why does everyone keep calling me a goat? Like, I just don't get it. And I had to like look it up. What's our A+ setup thus far? If I were to pick between all the ones that we were looking at, we gone through a lot of TAs, so I just gotta like. It won't. Litecoin's a good spot, so let's do a ranking system. So right now, Litecoin's the best setup. Let's go to here. It wouldn't be Chainlink. So if I were to pick a trade that I had to take between all the ones that we're looking at, that would be number 2. Sui's in a good spot. We got some fair value gaps, so that means quick price action. If you're an emotional trader that can't hold a trade for very long, fair value gaps will be your best friend because price action moves relatively quickly. And also looking at like your fixed range here and seeing how this behaves. If you see like a valley like this, price action usually moves quickly between those valleys, similar to how it did right here when I went through it. So let's get Sui in rank number 2. This one looks good, but we have lots of time before we actually have proper structure to define it as a good trade. So let's get rid of that one. Dot. So Dot, what I like about Dot is its potential to convert into a swing trade. So right now we're below, kind of like dipping below the value area low. If we got a front run opportunity down here, maybe it's an SFP here, or double bottom structure here and acceptance to the value area, Dot could convert into a swing trade to bring us up to like around $10. Doesn't mean, if I were to isolate the range though, I would prefer Litecoin over Dot though. So if you're a range trader, I'll be looking at Litecoin over everything. XRP. I don't like XRP's positioning at all. Like, I'm not going to touch it. We got that momentum that could fail and bring us complete the rotation down to the value area low at 220. And then maybe I'd feel comfortable about definitely preparing for a long down here. It's near the point of control, which isn't a problem, but trading near a point control will definitely reduce your win rate a little bit unless you have some momentum backing, and we definitely don't have that, so we'll probably end up being range bound until we get to this apex point here, where we'll be forced to make a decision to go up and maintain this momentum, or go down and maintain the rotation from the value area high to the value area low. So I'm going to exit out of XRP between all of our setups that we looked at. XRP is not one of them that I would want to take. Let's go to Solana. Solana is dancing between the value area high and the point of control. So if we're going through a process of elimination between what we think is better and worse right now, I would prepare for technically shorts right here. So it's important to have a short scenario asset that looks more bearish and also one that looks more bullish, so you can have it kind of work in confluence with Bitcoin's price action. Like I said before, near the early of this, which in the early side of this live, if you can see Bitcoin preparing for a long, you should look for assets if you're an altcoin trader that are also looking bullish as well alongside that. So if we see Bitcoin confirm something bearish, then Solana might be a good one to prepare for shorts because of its positioning in its previous value area. We might get rejections around here and then rotate to the value area low. But between everything, it's not one I want to take. Qubic. Now, this isn't one I would even trade with to begin with. I know we looked at this one, but this is more of a holder's asset. If you're going to be trading this for swing trades or position trading, then Qubic is a good one. But when it comes to like low time frame stuff, you're going to be dealing with a lot of slippage, and you're going to be dealing with lots of market structural flaws. So sometimes it'll break strong lows and strong highs that you'd normally depend on for your stop loss guard, right? And if you can't trust your stop loss, then what's the point of trading, right? So I wouldn't recommend trading this short term to begin with, but it doesn't mean you don't want to prepare for reversals. Just not something I'd like to trade in a short term time frames. Ondo, same kind of concept as Solana, right? We're at a area where you typically want to prepare for longs, especially if you lose this point of control and confirm a lower low. So we get that lower low. We can see it rotate down to 93. So it's more bearish than bullish. So I'd prepare for that on Ondo. We might see some relative weakness on it soon. But if we hold this up as support, maybe we'll get that reversal. So I guess out of all the charts that we had open, I'd say Litecoin is the more... Litecoin and Sui. These are the two more picture-perfect setups between all the ones that we've got. We just don't have a key level yet on Litecoin that's low enough to give us the proper R&R. Right here is the key level, but we'll probably get something soon, right? We'll probably get maybe a test off this value area low and a pullback. And if we get that lower low after the pullback, then we can have a key area here. And the cool thing about something like that is we'll have the confluence of the value area low, and we can start targeting these highs again for the rotation back to the other side of the value area. Well, I wouldn't be targeting the value area high, unfortunately. In this scenario, I'll just be targeting the point of control because of that range bound resistance looks pretty strong. And I'll be watching the order books for Litecoin as well to see if there's a sell wall alongside that. If you aren't good with the order books yet, that's okay. A lot of people trade without even knowing what the order books are, unfortunately. But it just does give you an edge in knowing that this area is likely going to be respected if you look at the order books. So I'd be targeting between just this zone right here. I'd be boxing this zone right here. And also marking these little highs here where liquidity is, right? If you visualize the order flow of the price action, where stop losses in high leverage traders are, these are areas where money is resting, right? And if you're a market maker and you entered along here or buy order, you could use this liquidity as an area to exit with the least amount of slippage and least amount of price impact. So they will be targeting these highs. So you got to watch out in case they exit here. And if they exit here, you should prepare to exit alongside them. You'll get reversal warnings like double tops or loss of momentum or change of character. And just listen to those warnings to take some profits off the table. So I'd say Litecoin would be the best setup out of all the ones that we looked at. But Sui is definitely still on the cards. But we have, this is the hourly time frame. Then we have no key areas that you can enter off of that are safe for R&R at all. It's way up here. So we just got to wait. We got something here. A 15-minute order block is probably going to induce a drop after the retest of the value area low. So Sui and Litecoin, guys. Dot, if you really want to try to get that front run off of the macro value area swing, right? So if we get that early entry for more of a bigger move, that would be awesome, right? So I'll just use Dot if you're someone who wants to prepare for your trade converting into a swing. And if you are trying to mentally prepare for a trade converting into a swing, make sure that you don't use too much leverage, because it'll make your trade cost a lot with your funding rate fees over time. Always risk to lose the same amount consistently over and over again. Okay. All right, guys, I do gotta head out. So reach out if you need any help at all in the Discord. I love answering questions, so don't feel like you're burdening me at all by asking me questions. There's the Ask Kyle channel, so you can message me at any time, and I can get back to you as soon as I possibly can to help you guys out. For those of you who are part of the community, David's calls tonight. So if you're trying to learn how to swing trade or you need help with your mindset, David's great at both those things. His call's in about a few hours at 7 o'clock. So you want to jump in with us, we'll be there to help you learn there too. All right, guys, have an amazing day. Appreciate all the likes and everyone who's been watching. It's been an awesome session. Unfortunately, we didn't get a trade in during the session, but we got some stuff to prepare for. And you guys have yourself an amazing day. Thank you.